Welcome to the show. So, over 80% of African immigrants face severe depression during their first Canadian winter, not from failure or lack of trying, but from a perfect storm of cultural isolation and weather they were never prepared to face.
That's such a profound insight into how climate shapes the immigrant experience. I mean, we're talking about people who've never experienced anything below 70 degrees, suddenly dealing with temperatures that can literally be life-threatening. Well, there's this African proverb that captures it perfectly. The stranger does not know where the path is slippery. And, that's both literal and metaphorical when you're dealing with black ice for the first time.
Speaking of black ice, I heard about this young professional from Africa who missed a crucial job interview because he had no concept of what that even meant.
Oh man, that story really gets to me because it shows how these seemingly small knowledge gaps can have huge consequences. Like, here's someone who did everything right but got derailed by something locals take for granted.
So what's the bigger picture here? How does this connect to the broader challenges of cultural adaptation?
Well, it's fascinating because the cold becomes this perfect metaphor for the whole immigration experience. Take this woman from Abuja who arrived with suitcases full of beautiful Ankara skirts, thinking she'd maintain her cultural identity through her clothing. You know what happened?
Let me guess. Those skirts stayed in the closet?
Exactly. She ended up living in sweatpants for months, literally and figuratively stripped of her cultural expression. And that's not even touching on the way winter affects employment, social connections, mental health.
And I imagine there's also this whole layer of institutional barriers, like dealing with authority figures in a new context.
That's actually one of the most critical points. Many immigrants arrive with this deeply ingrained fear of uniforms based on experiences back home. But here's the thing. In Canada, during a winter emergency, that person in uniform might be your only lifeline.
You know what's interesting about that? The way these survival skills become almost like a new language you have to learn.
Exactly, like this whole science of layering clothes, thermal, mid, shell. But nobody hands you this manual when you land at the airport. You learn through trial and error, sometimes with pretty serious consequences.
And I imagine the financial aspect makes it even harder. Like, how do you build a whole new winter wardrobe on a tight budget? I had this friend from Africa who would wear all his summer clothes during the winter, making him look like a shawarma.
That's where community resources become absolutely crucial. Churches, immigrant centers, libraries, they're not just services. They become these warm spaces where you can learn survival skills while maintaining human connection.
Well, that brings up something important, the isolation factor. How do people maintain their mental health when the weather itself seems designed to keep them indoors and alone?
That's why that 80% depression statistic is so significant. It's not just about the cold, it's about the way winter disrupts everything we know about community and connection. And for cultures built on daily social interaction, that isolation hits particularly hard.
Like a double isolation, physical and cultural.
Exactly, and here's something beautiful I heard. He who learns to walk in the storm becomes a master of balance. It's not just about staying upright on icy sidewalks. It's about finding your equilibrium in every aspect of life.
That's really profound when you think about how many different kinds of balance immigrants need to maintain.
And you know what's fascinating? The way these challenges force people to develop entirely new skills and habits, like keeping safety contacts, learning to read weather reports like survival documents, understanding wind chill factors. Things most Canadians absorb gradually growing up.
So what's the solution? How do people actually make it through?
Well, it's this combination of practical preparation and psychological resilience. Learning to layer properly, yes, but also learning that struggling with these adjustments isn't a personal failure. It's a normal part of the journey.
That really brings it full circle. From individual survival to community support.
And that's really the key takeaway here. Adapting to Canadian winters isn't just about learning to walk on ice, it's about becoming something more than what you were before, while still holding on to who you've always been. The cold might be inevitable, but facing it alone isn't.